we've got another newsmaker for you today, and this is a member of the Parliament Standing Committee on Finance, Rajya Sabha MP from the BJD. Dr. Amar Patnaik, thank you so much for speaking with CC. Delighted to have you on the program. A little birdie also told me that you're personally quite excited about the crypto space. We saw you asking some very pertinent questions in Parliament as well when a Q&A was going on from the Finance Minister. So just take us through your personal view on which way is this going as a regulation, not, and would love to know your party's view on this as well.
I think the way it is, the previous bill was against the context when there was no Supreme Court judgment which came in response to the RBI's notification for putting some kind of a ban in private cryptocurrencies. So I think the new bill would be something different, which would probably take us through a roadmap for regulation. And this regulation wouldn't be, again, I don't think it is going to be very watertight to start with. Because I think it has to evolve over a period of time. That's what we call it as and that's the smartest thing to do is a sandbox approach. So the safest, the cryptos are, it could be considered as tokens, it could be taken as currencies, it could be considered as commodities, it could be considered as securities. So different regulators actually come into play if you treat each of these categories of private currencies. Then there is, of course, the basic question, is there a need for having a private cryptocurrency when government is itself considering, and which is most likely going to have, is a fiat central bank digital currency, which is a good thing, I think, because that will actually give the investors an option to choose between a fiat currency and a completely private currency. Having said so, the private cryptocurrency has, the market itself has increased manifold, and I said it in the Parliament that it has increased 10 times more than when the last report came of the government. So it's dated report, and we can't be talking of a ban against the context of that report, and we have to think about the latest market. And the market is developed, and even if you think to wish it away, it will continue to grow probably. And then when there is a market failure, as it happens, it is automatically the government which is called in to step in. And that's when I think the government will have to do. So why not think about it from before, lay out a roadmap, go through a process of graded regulation, start with the safest option of having an asset class, treating cryptos as asset classes, and then going into the more risky propositions, considering the fact, no undenying fact that underlying asset for any of these private cryptocurrencies is not there because it's not a fiat currency. So that's why I'm looking at the new regulation, which should probably be unveiled in the next few weeks, maybe, about the way the government is thinking of.
Right. So in few days, perhaps, if we are counting down to that, really. But you mentioned very interestingly about sort of a graded response, right, that the government of India has towards, or you hope the government of India would have towards the cryptocurrency and the entire blockchain tech. Take us through, just expand on that graded response a little for me, please.
So what I have in mind is, as you said very correctly, that on one level, we have to keep educating people that this is an extremely risky proposition. The government is stepping in with regulation to bring some amount of stability to the currency, as it should be. That's the basic definition of a sovereign currency. And it's not a legal tender in case of private cryptocurrency, therefore the risks are much high. And then, first start with the safest, which is easy to regulate, the asset class. Then get into a situation of considering it as tokens and currencies, and then probably think about multiple transactions being possible. The cash out could be in any form. And then you say of a hybrid regulator who looks at, different kinds of possibilities that the private cryptocurrency can have. In Singapore, as I was trying to go through how they regulate the crypto market, and they do it by their agency, their regulator, getting in all the requests from the exchange and then segregating them as to whether it's a token, whether it is going to be a securities, whether it is going to be something else, and then they send it to that particular micro-regulator or let's say sub-regulator. So that's a different kind of a structure altogether. Germany follows differently. Canada follows differently. So I think we have to first recognize the fact that this market is not going to go away if we put a ban. If we think that this people will be scared of investing in the crypto private currency because there is no underlying asset value.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen because young people love to speculate. So there's speculation. Hindi mein jo kehte hain, jo maza hai na speculation mein.
It's not the young people alone who are investing.
But the rest will happen when the cash out options, the need for a cash out arises. Then the problem starts. If there is a market failure, then the government will be asked to come in, just as this happened in cheat funds. In cheat funds, nobody asked people to invest in cheat funds. But when cheat fund people lost money, then the governments in West Bengal, in Orissa, everywhere, they have started having corpus funds, and that's taxpayers' money.
Catch up already.
So, government should be aware of this, and therefore my strong pitch is that you have to go in for a regulation, and that regulation, of course, could be a very graded one, putting yourself in a sandbox kind of an approach and see how the things evolve.
That's actually a very nice way that you've put it, and we really hope the government is listening into these very, very valuable comments there, quickly telling us that there needs to be buckets in which crypto and blockchain is looked at, and then there has to be graded response, and this might just be the first step.